Appreciate it, sir. Let's talk a little bit now about something that I think is really, really important.
Mhm.
Can they keep Juju Lewis? Can they keep their key players?
Yeah.
It sounds like from what you said earlier, and it's why I asked, that these young men are basically bought in to Deion.
Mhm.
But if there's any doubt and there's change, we both know players pick coaches, and that includes assistants
Yeah.
for where they go to school.
Mhm.
And if they feel misled intentionally or otherwise, they bolt.
Yeah. No, it's
There's no
fair.
penalty anymore. So
Yeah.
are we going to see a big exodus? Everybody loses some players, but are we going to see a big exodus from Colorado or just small?
We're going to see a big exodus regardless of if they hired Nick Saban, whoever else, because they have 38 seniors and grad students on this roster. So that's 38 people that are gone no matter what, and that's not even counting the occasional like freshman or sophomore where it's like, you know what, I'm not playing, I want to get out of here, right? So there's going to be a large exodus. I think the guys are bought into Deion Sanders, and I know you mentioned, and this is true, and I feel like this is for 99.9% of programs, that they buy into coordinators, right? Like John Mateer bought into Ben Arbuckle, which is why he followed him to Oklahoma. There's certain guys where it's like you follow that coordinator because you like them. I think at Colorado, you're more so bought into Deion, and you just sort of you appreciate his vision and you understand his vision, right? I don't think a lot of kids are like excited and chomping at the bit to play for Pat Shermer, right? I don't think that's a bucket list item. And I think regardless of what happens, the only way you could go is up. So whoever he brings in, I think you're pitching to Julian Lewis, like, hey, this guy, look what he did at this last job with this guy. Like, you're way better than this guy. You could elevate this. Like, so I think they're bought into Deion, which is a big deal. And I think keeping Julian Lewis is the priority. He's wise beyond his years. After that West Virginia game, because Colorado's on a bye this week, they asked him if he's going home, and he's like, no, I'm going to go watch film. I'm going to keep my receivers in Boulder because they had some issues getting back after the first bye week. They had a couple of their best ones not return on time. And he said, we're going to run routes. We're going to build connections, and we're going to get ready for next year. So to me, Julian Lewis is saying the right things. He's bought in. And I mean, you know this, Julian Lewis is probably one of the more famous recruits we've had in college football over the past couple of years, right? There's videos of him working out with Stroud, Derwin James as like a 12-year-old, 14-year-old, however old he was. So having someone of that notoriety as a recruit be bought in, I think that attracts other guys, and I think that keeps other guys around him bought in.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You got to keep guys like that believing in the long term for his development to make the NFL too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, they started visiting Colorado early. They got in on him early, and he signed with the Buffs. We didn't think it was going to happen there for a while, but they just kept after him. And hats off to Colorado for doing it.
Yeah.
To that end, do you think Juju will be able? I would think this is a yes, but do you think they'll get at least one receiver? You're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's to go with Miller and some of these other, like, are they going to add something like that, you think? And I'm guessing they're going to have to, really.
Yeah, I think right now they have two clear, like 1A, 1B, and Miller, and then Joseph Williams, who they got from Tulsa. He's been really good. Ironically, they're the two best receivers, and they were the ones that did not return from the bye week on time the first time. But they're both really good. And Deion Sanders, does he have issues recruiting the offensive line most of the time? This year, it's good. Ironically, it's like the 1 year you don't have a quarterback, you have your best offensive line. But the one thing that he's never been bad at is getting wide receiver talent. And whether it's in the portal, whether it's making a very, very late push for like a guy like Sedarian Morgan, which I don't know if that's still on the table, but something like that where I think they're due for a big receiver get, because that's just sort of what Deion Sanders is able to do. Like he talks about building the program from the outside in, which most people would advise against, but he is able to get those skill guys. And I think pitching to any wide receiver like, hey, we have one of the best young quarterbacks in college football, I don't think that's a hard sales pitch to make. And having Deion Sanders do it probably helps it even more.
Yeah, I would imagine that it does. I mean, if you really think about all the different things that Deion is known for, I mean, his brashness, his 40 time, all that stuff, he'll be able to get somebody on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not they connect with him, that stuff takes care of itself. But he just has, it's like he gets more swings. Instead of 3 strikes, he gets 6 because of who he is and takes advantage of it.
I think he's going to be more involved this offseason. Obviously, last offseason, he was dealing with
Yeah.
cancer, which
Oh,
is insane to say. Like he was battling
yeah.
cancer, so he wasn't able to be hands-on. But
Dang
I
you,
think,
Deion. Priorities, man. Come on. Come on,
yeah,
man.
no, like I think he's gonna like really be involved in certain recruitments and be like, yeah, I really want you. Like I think being, and I've talked about this from the high school recruiting perspective. Like if Deion Sanders visited, I call it the Prime 21. This is my little theory, but if he's called it the Prime 21, visited 21 recruits a year, those guys would feel so special, right? Because people feel special to know that a guy like Nick Saban, a guy like Deion Sanders, who have these huge brands, are willing to take time out of their day to be involved. And it's not just like, hey, Brian's our receivers coach. Like, come talk to me when we want to take that picture after. Like, I think him being like hands on will really help the process as well.
Yeah. And to that end, when we come back here in a second, like where does he need to hit the most? Lineman for every program. I mean, I'm sure that like they'll get Seaton back for at least one more year. Got
Mhm.
an anchor there. That's a heck of a start.
Yeah.
But how many players do they need in the line? That is the big question because from what I'm seeing from the naked eye test, trenches are an issue,
Yeah.
and it's gotten better, but they still need to take another step. And then, my gosh, Kevin, can somebody play some corner for the Buffs? I mean that is oh my, it's
Holding open
so
tryouts in the
ironic
parking lot. Holding open
because of
tryouts
the
in the parking lot.
position that Deion played is one of the worst on the team, if not
Yeah. I
the
mean,
worst. I mean, it's
it's a tough competition because the defense is so terrible, but yeah, they're bad.
We're going to talk about that next here on the Portal Podcast crossover with Locked On Buffs. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. It's hopefully going to be a lot better for Colorado moving forward, but the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game and you want to ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is getting new customers $300 in bonus bets. Win the first $5 bet is a winner. Head to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Kevin. Outside of the six corners they need to get out of the portal,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
what
a
other
fun question.
positions?
This is your realm, Brian. We're gonna be linking
Oh,
all off season. So no corners, like you mentioned. The defense line, I think, is I thought they got a guy in Jaheim Otis who was gonna be
he's a
uh,
monster,
he's a
but
monster in size. Like he passes the eye test, he passes the walk off the bus test, but he's quite frankly a flop. Like he is their biggest. Him and Caden Salter were two of the biggest disappointments of the season, arguably in college football. I would say he is a guy that I don't know what the amount they spent on him, but I'm sure they spent a lot to get him to Boulder, and he has I think it's 8 total tackles, like a pass deflection. Like he's done nothing, and so Colorado's rushing and defense is one of the worst in the country. They've given up 400 yards rushing. They give up 200 yards rushing consistently, like every week. So that entire front seven needs to be revamped and attacked with authority. Like you could keep. I'd rather have average corners than an average front seven, honestly, right? Because you
yeah,
could sort of scheme coverage, kind of, right? You could put guys in positions, but you can't get past being out physical week in and week out. And so
nope.
the defensive front seven is just atrocious and it's got to be fixed. And honestly, I think they need some help at running back. I don't know what the problem is. I know they're not committing to the run game, which I don't think helps, but I'm not seeing a clear running back answer yet. I feel like they have flashes here and there, but there hasn't been a 100-yard rusher at Colorado since I know since Deion's taken over, there hasn't been one. Right? They have just not had that, and I think that's a culmination of the offensive line, defense line, and going back to the offensive line. It's good this year, but they have 7 or 8 seniors, so it's like we have to bring in a whole new batch again. And so trenches in the front seven is my biggest concern because I think you could get along with average guys that other like you ironically skill position guys get the most attention. They score the touchdowns. They're the coolest guys on the team. They got the NIL deals, but you could get along with average guys, right? Like you can, but you can't get along with an average front seven or offensive line.
Colorado has proven Kevin to be right on those things over and over and over again. So, besides corner, what would you rank second? Is
Yeah.
it?
I'd
I mean,
I'd go
linebacker? Is it
yeah, I'd go
DN?
linebackers, honestly, because last year they had Nikhai Hill-Green, who's at Bama, and is starting to ramp it up there and starting to play a lot better for Alabama. And then Levante Bentley, who's a Clemson guy that year one was kind of iffy, and then year two they formed like they were the best running duo in college football, or in the Big 12 at least. They were just really good against the run, and in the Big 12, and I think the SEC and the Big 10 get a lot of credit for being physical, but Iowa State's in the Big 12, Utah's in the Big 12. There's so many teams that want to run the ball down your throat in the Big 12, and if you're Colorado, like being not physical is not going to work. And so the linebackers, I don't feel like you realize how much they make or break your defense until you don't have good ones. We'll put it that way. And so they really need to hit on linebackers. I think that also involves a coaching change, but the linebackers are my number two. My number three is the defensive line, just because, I mean, you talked about it, you hit on it. Like, can't win games if you're getting pushed around. And I want to get your perspective on this. With the one portal window, how hard do you think it is going to be for Deion Sanders to, because I think he needs 40 plus guys. If you're losing 38, that's not counting other
Yeah,
unhappy
normal
people.
attrition. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how hard is it going to be to bring in 40 to 50 guys in a week span? Or like, well, I guess they only have the week to enter, but you know what I mean?
I think it's not, can you get guys? There are two problems here.
Mhm.
With one window, keep in mind that means there's no spring window after spring ball. You're guessing.
Mhm.
So his biggest problem, you already stated, Kevin, that he's going to change staff. So you have to do all of the following in a very short period of time. This is not realistic. The way it works at any state job, in University of Colorado state job, even if you know who you're going to hire now, they got to go through the background check, all that other crap before they can do anything. It's going to be portal time about the time they get on campus.
Mhm.
How are they going to have their list ready, be ready to roll? All that, that's dicey. Secondarily, again, I just mentioned you don't get spring ball, so you can't miss. And then third, here's the big one. Every coach in America, even if you're the lowest end guy on a staff that's middle of the P4, you're making $200,000, $300,000 a year. These guys aren't making that money at other jobs for the most part. They're going to do anything they can to stay ahead. They don't want Deion. They're going to try to go after him. And a lot of these other schools got as much, if not more, money. They're going to be very desperate to try to get the boosters to dive in. So, especially linemen.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. It's going to be a bloodbath for the linemen, because it's like, it's
There
going
aren't
to feel
enough.
everyone's going to feel the pressure of like, we only have this one shot to like get everyone. So follow-up question then. I mean, you know Colorado's transfer portal class as well as I do, top 25 in the country, but obviously they're 3-7 and they whiffed on just about most of them. So is it easier to clean house on the coaches or the recruiting / talent evaluator staff? Like, who do you blame for this? Because I feel like you could put it 50-50, but at the same time, if you're relying on your transfer portal evaluators to bring you the right guys, and this is what they bring you, like, you have to make some changes there too. And I don't know how easy that is either.
It depends on how they put the onus on each, because like they bring the info to the coaches at every school. They still got to sign off on it. The way it usually works for an offer, no matter what, transfer, recruit, coordinator, position coach, head coach. So if they bring him and they don't like him, they just say no.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually you're signing off on these guys. So they got to be culpable for at least every kid in some way.
Okay.
So the other problem, again, if you get just as an example, let's say they change 5 coaches, it's half your staff.
Yeah.
That's 5 coaches you got to get in fast. And some of those guys are connected to the back office, etc. That's a disconnect. Some of the back office staff might leave, like, in that portal window is going to get here quicker than you think.
Yeah.
That,
it's scary.
it could get really dicey because these schools that don't change, like Georgia will have like 1 staff member change.
Yeah.
Notre Dame may not have any. Ohio State, outside of some guy that gets a head coaching job.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of these guys, it's just gonna be like, okay, I took a head coaching job at insert school here.
That's the only reason those staffs are so far ahead with the portal, because they have the same people doing the same things. It's continuity. That's an edge over them. And, by the way, those staffs are a little bit better in the win-loss department. That's probably going to help you on the recruiting side of the portal.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about Deion and his staff with the one portal window. They need a spring window desperately. It's not coming back because coaches in general, for people who don't know, the coaches hate the spring window because that means they got to protect their players from getting poached, and they didn't want their film going out on those spring games on ESPN and Fox Sports and all that stuff. So that's why they got rid of it. They don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bye-bye. And now you got to guess, because if you screw up the winter portal window at your school like Colorado, especially, you get into spring and realize you screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part. And like the other thing too is Colorado is not scared to play freshmen, but do you know the number of freshmen they have in their class right now off the top of your head? Do you want to guess?
I'm going to guess 7.
Oh, wow, you underestimated 12. So I mean, you know, that's not a great number to have at November 13th, right? Most people are at 20 plus. And from your perspective, what's easier to get? Flips, a bunch of flips, like say 5 to 7 flips, or a bunch of transfers? Like I don't know what's easier anymore.
Probably the transfers, because a lot of those kids, they just want to get out. It happens quick. Recruiting's a longer process. So
yeah. Okay.
I'll go with transfer.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Those were my rapid fire for Brian.
That's, man, this could be ugly, man.
Yeah. I mean, this offseason, I've said it on my show, I think this will define the Deion Sanders tenure. Like this will be how he does this offseason will set him up for the future. I think we talked about this off air. They have a new AD coming in. We don't know who it is, obviously, because the current one just announced today or on Thursday that he's going to be moving into a new role. So Deion Sanders is going to be working with at least 38 departures, probably closer to 45, I would assume. 1 transfer portal window, 12 recruits committed right now. And he's going to have a new AD who's not attached to him, right? He's going to be like, okay, you brought the school in a lot of money and you had that one good year, but if you continue to struggle, like I'm not losing my job for you. Like that's what it comes down to. It's either me or you, and 99.9.9.9% of people are going to side with me, right? They're not going to be like, you know what? Brian just didn't get a fair shake, so I'll take the axe this time, and I'll do better at my next job. Like that's not how it works. And so Deion Sanders really needs to figure it out. And Brian, how do you think what's the perfect off season look like for him from your perspective?
It's going to be about his coordinator hires.
Mm-hmm.
I assume one or both will change.
Yeah.
And then those guys it'll trickle down from there. At least one will change, and it's got to be done quick. How quickly they can get it done is the key. Because again, they got to be on the same page. We need to hit this guy and this guy in the portal because it opens on the 2nd. You need to every day have meetings about it and have them vetted. It's a process because you're bringing in each person as its own entity, because who's their family? Is it a fit here? Do they want to be here longer? There's a lot that goes into it. So how quickly they get it done without just hiring guys to hire guys, that's hard. That's really, really hard, Kevin. So
it is. Yeah.
All right, Kevin. Tell everybody where they can find your work, my friend.
Yeah, just like the Locked On Portal, Locked On Buffs is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So every single day, wherever you get your podcasts, I'm out there talking about the latest of what's going on in Boulder.
All right, man. I appreciate it. You can find the Portal Podcast wherever you get your pods, Spotify, Apple Podbean, and of course on YouTube. This has been a crossover, Locked On Buffs and Locked On the Portal.